Kanye West is back in sneakers. Okay. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Fire Footwear. As always, I am your host, Matt. If this is your first time, I want to welcome you to the Fire Footwear community. If it's not your first time, thank you so much. I know I say that every single episode, but it will continue to be true. We have been talking recently about some topics in sneakers, prices and availability and hype and all of the things that I think most people find themselves trafficking in. And there are times I think that we see sneakers as an escape from our regular life. And I think that it makes a lot of sense because regular life can be tough. As a matter of fact, I'm sitting here in this attic, and if you're watching on video, then you kind of can see what I have going on here. But I'm tired. It's the end of a Monday. It was a long weekend, even though you have a lot of fun on the weekends. Sometimes you just need a rest from all that fun. And today was a long day, folks, but I'm sitting here because I love this podcast and I want to continue to do it. And it is just, sometimes you need that kind of escape. And I think that podcasts, I think that sneaker, sports, things like that, they generally tend to be releases and they generally tend to be escapes from what feels like normal life. And there are times, though, that sometimes the real serious parts of our society, the real serious parts of life, get intermixed and interwoven into the fabric of the lives that we are trying to lead and the ways in which we're trying to escape. And I think that Kanye West is a perfect example of that. If you're going to discuss, say, a Mount Rushmore of people who have been influential in sneakers, or if you're going to talk about people who have really given a lot to the culture that has gotten us here today, it's impossible not to talk about Kanye. If you really think about it, he has done it all. I mean, he has come out with shoes and colorways, silhouettes that have stood the test of time, that when we go back in the annals of history, when we write books like some of the ones that are on the bookshelf above me, we're going to see his name. And we're going to see his name in pop culture references. We're going to see it in musical references. He's somebody who has had a huge impact on pop culture society, whether it be sneakers, music, or what have you. In the sneaker world, Kanye West is, in my opinion, one of the people that we have to give a lot of credit to as to how we got here. And I think that that's undeniable. His run at Nike, the time that he spent before then designing Louis Vuitton, and then, of course, with Adidas, getting into the Yeezy brand and really breaking out in a way that I don't think many people saw coming, and at least the way that it happened. Perhaps I'm wrong there, but obviously Kanye did a ton of good work. And if you look at the lineage of everything that he has done, he has made an impact. The Nike Air Yeezy 2, especially the Red Octobers, probably one of the biggest unicorns in sneaker history, probably one of the most famous release stories in sneaker history. It's definitely up there in terms of at least Nike's history. You could put the Pigeon up there and the Red October. That actually kind of gets into more of what we deal with today, where it comes out on Twitter at the time. It's now X, and people had to flock to it, and you had to get there, and you had to be there. I think that also Kanye West, with his run after that, has created silhouettes that I think that if they came out today by another designer would absolutely be seen as top-notch. Now, did Kanye actually design the shoes that he is known for? No. There's obviously a team of people that are doing that. And I've seen many people rightly giving folks credit where credit is due. So Kanye is the face of the Yeezy brand. He is certainly the face of, I think, the success that is given to the Yeezy brand. But he did not design every single shoe that ever came out with the Yeezy moniker on them. There was a lot of brain power. There was a lot of trust that happened there. And Kanye is the one who gets all the public attention. However, I think that it is rightfully given to him in terms of what he brought to the brand, how people continued to flock to the brand. And even recently with all of those restocks, or I don't want to say restocks, but sort of liquidating the stock that they had, it was because of his name. Rightfully or wrongfully, it was because of his name. Now, why is this complicated? Well, it's complicated because in 2026, as we're getting into the later half of this year, Kanye West is now back in sneakers with the Yeezy 800, I believe. I've seen mock-ups of the shoe. I think it was him himself who actually posted about them, but I've seen them in aggregate websites and so forth, and I'm drastically underwhelmed. I don't find them to be good looking. I don't find them to be innovative. I find them to be as bland as what I feel is the music he has come out with and also the personality that he has given us. And you might think, bland personality. Well, that's what gets to the complicating factor of this, because Kanye West has been in the news the last 6 years or so for what feels like basically every single wrong reason possible. And this is where it gets complicated, because people are immediately going to hear me say that, and they are going to stamp a political belief or stamp a political side on me when this is not necessarily a matter of politics. To me, it's a matter of public perception and how you have presented yourself. To peel back a little bit, the way that I believe that humanity should work, and at least the way that I try and be, is I try and be the best human being possible. It doesn't mean that I am successful in that venture at all times. It doesn't mean that the way that I do it is 100% the right way. It's just the way that I do it. So when I look at people like Kanye, I look at it through that lens, through that prism. The prism of the golden rule: treat people the way that you want to be treated. And while that is a steadfast rule in my life, there is gray area there because, again, we're all human beings. Some of the things that Kanye has been associated with over the last few years, to me, don't fall in the political realm because they fall under that golden rule and humanity realm that I just talked about. We're talking about Nazi sympathizing. We're talking about just general behavior toward women. Many elements of things that he has said publicly, acts that he has shown us publicly, and just the way that he has shown to behave himself in the public realm as this version of Kanye West, to me, is not something that I find attractive. It is unsavory in so many ways for me, and I think it is unsavory in many ways for other people. And I want to be clear about this, that I am putting this lightly. Many people feel a way about him for, to me, very real and very genuine reasons. And I think that people are justified in feeling the way that they do about him, especially the way that he has acted over the last 6 years or so. That doesn't take away from the fact that he does have a legacy in sneakers, even if he is not the sole reason why that legacy exists. It is something that is attached to him. And I do believe that the actions that he has done over the last few years doesn't negate that at a high level. What it does do for me anyway, and this is where the debate has come in, and I've seen it on a lot of podcasts, YouTube channels, and so forth, is should Kanye be let back in? Should he be somebody that is allowed to have people purchase his goods, to have people give him their money? Where it gets complicated is this is a capitalistic society. These companies, whether it's a singular brand like Yeezy is now, or Nike or Adidas, they're going to watch out for their bottom line. And I've been very adamant about it. I feel like I say it every episode, but it is something that people need to remember, that there is nothing more important than money and the bottom line for any company. That includes Kanye. He's not making the Yeezy 800 out of the goodness of his heart. He is not making it so that we can all have access to Yeezys after years of overhype and years of inaccessibility. He's not doing it for any other reason than he wants the money. And somebody is going to benefit from this, and they're going to benefit off of our pocketbooks. And I think that people are very conflicted in this. Now, there are a lot of people who are not conflicted, and I do give them a lot of credit, because in today's world, it's so easy to flip-flop, and it's so easy to feel as if you have conviction, but then when actually presented that thought in public or presented that thought in a conflict in some sort, people sometimes feel like they can't stand on their square. And in this particular instance, I'm standing on that square because I do believe that what he did is just unsavory to me. But it's not unsavory to everybody. There are people in this world who feel that Kanye hasn't done anything wrong. There are people who feel that the way he acted, the things he said, align with how they feel or is just not that big of a deal. They're allowed to think that too. What gets complicated, at least here in the United States, is we feel that if we have an opinion, that opinion is the only one that matters, and that we are not allowed to let anybody else have an opinion that differs. If you hate Kanye West, you are 100% allowed to hate Kanye West. If you love Kanye West, you're 100% allowed to love Kanye West. And if you feel meh about him, that's okay too. But here's the thing. We also are allowed to have those opinions, and we're allowed to have reactions to those opinions. You don't have to like it. You don't even have to listen to it, but we're allowed to have them. And so I think where this gets to is Kanye West allowed back in? In my world and in many people's world, no. Is everything water under the bridge? No, not for everybody. For some, there was never water to begin with, and for others, time is the ultimate healer. Will people buy the Yeezy 800? Yes, they will. Because at the end of the day, in sneakers, there are people for whom this is an identifier for them. This is something that is a part of who they are. The same way that other people feel that their heritage is part of who that they are and that's representative of them. The same way that people make politics their entire personality. There are people that make sneakers their entire personality. And guess what? That's what humanity is all about. You're allowed to do pretty much whatever you want. Now, are there consequences to actions? 100%. Are there consequences to making sneakers your entire personality? Making your sports team fandom your entire personality? Making your political beliefs? Yes, there is. You could turn a lot of people off. You could isolate yourself, but you've made that choice. You've made that choice to do so. And so I don't think that there is a finite answer to this that isn't outside of the realm of it's just personal to you. The Yeezy 800 doesn't appeal to me as a sneaker. Kanye doesn't appeal to me as a human being. And that's all that matters to me. I won't buy the shoe because he doesn't appeal to me. The shoe doesn't appeal to me. Now, if they release the Yeezy 700 Wave Runner, which I've said is one of my favorite shoes of all time, would I be tempted to buy it? Yes. Would I buy it is the real question. And I think at the end of the day, much like when it comes to prices, you have to make that decision for yourself. I know how I feel. I know how many other people feel. And I know that I feel that Kanye deserves credit, at least to some degree, for what Yeezy ended up being and for what he has done in the sneaker game. I think that will stand the test of time for the most part. What won't stand the test of time is his presence, and what won't stand the test of time are the things that he said that made a lot of people alienate themselves from him. But at the end of the day, what will drive all of this is the almighty dollar. So for every single person that buys a Yeezy 800, for every silhouette that he makes that sells out, that is all that matters. And what you will see if that happens is another Yeezy after Yeezy after Yeezy. Hope this finds everybody well. Hope this finds everybody safe. And I'll talk to you next time. This is Fire Footwear.